Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Down to Earth podcast. Yes, we said it, Down to Earth
With a two.
podcast. I'm your first co-host, Demario Del Crosby is your second co-host.
Jeremy.
Ooh, that set the tone right there. So, you guys can tell we're in the office space again, but something very interesting just happened, and we actually recorded this video.
47 minutes.
47 minutes, and we looked at the phone and it only got 47 seconds in off of that. So basically what we're saying is
We got to do it again.
so we just talked about all this stuff and just
that
lost
the world
it.
will never get to see.
Literally. So we're gonna give you guys a piece of it and see what we all remember and go from there. So we'll start with our weekly weekly recap.
Week was good. Busy.
Week was good, busy. Go ahead, your turn.
Busy. Didn't get too much personal stuff done. A lot of work. Worked late. Pretty much went to sleep after work this week. Gamed a little bit on Friday. How about you?
Week was good, man. I got sick. I got sick. I had to still work, and I was like, "Fuck!" I just wanted to not be sick anymore. So that happened. After that, did a lot of state sales. We got in line for Disney Lacana, whatever it's called.
Try and get a couple flips.
Got a couple items to flip it since it's in high demand right now. So that was fun. And yeah, so kind of just a rough week since I was sick and still having to do stuff and kind of just all over the place.
And your sales calls, right?
Yeah, so I still have to do that and do recorded sales calls and sick as fuck, nose leaking on the phone, coughing. So yeah, other than that, the week was good. All right, so the topic today that we really wanted to talk about was just high tension conversations that people usually choose not to have around at like family gatherings or places like that, I guess because they kind of get out of hand and people do a lot of disagreeing. So we looked online, and the three topics that people usually try not to talk about at family gatherings were politics, religion, and money. What are your thoughts on that? What is your experience with that? And kind of go into that.
Feel like politics, I don't really remember too much politics stuff with my family, going back to like when we would actually all do our get-togethers when I was young. Everybody pretty much is on the same page with religion. I would just say there are the more Bible thumpers, and then there's just people that include religion as just part of their day-to-day. They're not, like going out of their way to like preach or stuff like that. And money, I feel like it's just an avoided conversation because you never really want to show what you have. And when it's family, you feel judged, and you probably feel like you should have more or be more ahead than you are. And I feel like that's just something that you're doing to yourself. When in reality, if it's a caring, loving family and everybody wants to see everybody succeed, that you shouldn't be afraid to have those conversations, because somebody in the room might be able to help you.
Yeah, definitely.
Or you might get,
or want to help,
or just listen.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Sometimes you might just want to get some stuff off your chest, like, man, in the last 3 weeks I had to pay this for my car, this for the house, and the kids needed this, and I'm fucking broke. Yeah. Every dollar, every hour I'm working, sometimes you just need to vent to the people that care about you the most. So I don't really remember getting into any of those conversations because I was young.
Yeah.
And family gatherings as you get older are more far and few in between.
Yeah. For sure.
If I were to talk about, like, if we were to have a family gathering now, I feel like in today's day and age, politics, everybody would just get behind the fact that Biden sucks. And I feel like politics wouldn't separate us as much as bring it together, and I could probably speak on behalf of most families out there if they were to talk about politics and all the fucked up shit that's going on. Religion, I don't know, I feel like people aren't going to Bible thump you. They might just like, everybody does a thank God and amen and praying before food and all that stuff. And like, even if you don't really believe in that stuff, I feel like you just go with the flow just because it's not going to be worth the conversation, the high tension conversation that we'll get into, of knowing that. Like, I can't imagine that conversation of an atheist and a hardcore Bible thumper over dinner at a family event.
That'd actually be...
Like, that sounds like, okay, you guys go over there, everybody else, let's go have fun over here.
I would listen to that conversation.
I would listen to it too, but from a distance.
I just want it to be recorded.
Gunshot.
Wow.
What you believe in now?
It's messed up.
Yeah, and I feel like if people have money conversations, people aren't really open to actually hearing what they're saying, not just the words coming out of their mouth and actually applying it. Because I think that also on that family level, you have that some families are really caring and really want to help stuff, but other families, the dynamic is more of higher tension just naturally, just because. And it's like, oh, here goes Jeremy talking about real estate and money again and how he's got so much and
doing the best ever.
Right, exactly. Or like I could be giving value to that conversation, but if somebody doesn't want value, they're not going to get it.
Yeah.
And you can't, there's no right or wrong there, because if somebody doesn't want to hear you talk, they don't want to hear you talk. That's on them.
Yeah.
I can't force you to have a conversation with me. Just like, someone else. What if that one millionaire in the family is over here talking about money and stuff, and everybody else is like, oh, you got lucky, blah, 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 we have to work for our stuff, you created a product and sold 10 million copies, you got lucky, blah, blah, blah. And, yeah. I'd actually like to see that dynamic.
What?
Like the families where like the one person actually goes on and creates something and becomes the millionaire.
And then around everyone else.
And what that tension level would be if he would be judged for having all that and maybe not helping the family as much.
Yeah.
And everybody still has to work their day to day and all that stuff.
That's interesting. I guess when it comes down to me personally, politics is always, all this stuff eventually kind of comes up on like a surface level, but it's never like a like a group conversation. It's always like one or two people that's mainly talking and everyone just listening, and when they're listening everyone's like, shut the fuck up, or like, why are we talking about this, how do we get from this to that?
Right.
Like definitely with politics, I feel like that's something that always comes up in like family gatherings, but it's always as either complaining or this person likes that person or this person likes that person, and then they're like judging each other, something like that. When it comes down to money's very interesting. Money's not really talked about from any family gatherings that I go about. And if it is talked about, it's talked about as in, bro, I ain't got nothing, stuff like that. It's never as in, okay, so, I don't know, what do you have invested? I don't invest in anything. Like, I don't know, I guess people are just very touchy when it comes to that subject. Like you were saying, I guess they're just
could feel judged, could
feel like, oh, maybe I'm in too good of a spot to, like, you know what I mean? And I don't know, I think that should change, and if that did change, I think that would be
there's just too much emotions in money.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Like, I wonder why it got to that point. Like, why are these things the things that people are like so about? Like, I was thinking about this as well, like being a man. Like, if a man doesn't have a lot of like money financially, I feel like he feels as if he's like not part of society or something like that. You know what I mean? And it's like, I wonder, like, why is that such a thing? I know a man, his key role is to provide, stuff like that. I get that, but I don't know. That's also another touchy subject.
Whether people don't like it or not, like the way the world is right now, your hierarchy is based on how much money you have. Plain and simple. So whether that's the right thing, the wrong thing, good, not good, doesn't matter. That's the way society goes.
Yeah.
You are judged on every level of society based on your financial status, whether people like it or not. Whether you got $100 million in the bank or whether you got $10 million in the bank.
Or 50. They so dried out. But
last conversation was a good one. I'm just putting that out there. It's the first time it happened, so we're still trying to navigate these unforeseen circumstances.
Wait a minute. All right, let's pause for a second, right? He grabs the phone and he goes, we only have 47 seconds of that. What?
Bro, can you imagine? Imagine back in the day, right? The Christopher Columbus days. You getting on a boat, set out, right? It's a storm. You drive in that boat for like a week, 2 weeks. Everybody's doing their job. You can't really see anything. The clouds part. The sun comes out. You still at the dock. You went nowhere in 2 weeks. That's how I feel right now. I feel like I just got on a boat trying to cross the ocean and ended up back at home.
Oh, shit. Crying.
Oh.
Crying. I guess the last thing was...
Hey, it's all part of the process.
Definitely, for sure. And that's why I think it's... He just wants to end it. But I think one thing that's very, huge, and I think it's a great thing, that one, we laughed about it when it happened. We were just like, damn. But then as we're doing it, we're like, kind of like, slugging.
That's what it feels like. That's what it's got to feel like acting. Doing the same scene over and over again, saying the same words over and over again. You did 8 hours and you got 1 4-minute scene done. I'm going over there playing the game.
I'm playing the game. But yeah, man, high tension conversations. I
feel like I'm in one right now.
Yeah. Do you think they're a good thing? Think they're a bad thing? Think people avoid them? What do you think?
Yeah, I think people naturally avoid high tension conversations for a couple of different reasons. One is, so many people have so much other stress and life going on that if they can avoid it and just walk away, that's easier than adding to the bullshit that I already have going on and dealing with. I think another reason is you can tell pretty quickly if you're talking to a brick wall, somebody that isn't going to back down, that no matter if you have 100% pure factual information that you are giving them, they refuse to accept it because they are so stuck in their ways. You want to talk about a waste of time? I don't think there's many things out there that waste more time than talking to a brick wall in a conversation like that, because all you're going to do is make yourself stupid. Because you're talking facts and feelings and everything, and they don't want to hear it. And then, but I think they can be good, and they need to be good in friendships, in relationships. You avoid those conversations for too long, and you'll start to pull yourself apart. And the friendship might have a little bit of tension. The last thing you want is your relationship to start getting some tension, just because there's a conversation that needs to happen that you're refusing to have. And it's even worse when it's one party. If it's both, then at least you're 50-50 in that way. But if it's one person that knows that this conversation needs to happen, but one person is totally refusing it, over time that is going to do nothing but pull you even farther apart than just not having a conversation in general. Because now you're starting to realize what kind of person they are, and you might start coming up with some false ways of thinking of how they are, and won't lead anywhere good. So I think in the important conversations in your life with the important people in your life, high tension conversations need to happen. But Joe Schmo on the side of the road that wants to just tell you that he saw aliens, not worth having a conversation with.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, I think my perspective on that is high tension conversations are very important because there's a lot of value that you can get, but there's also a lot of things you can learn about yourself. Because there are certain conversations, and I think we all have experienced this before, where just having the conversation, it starts to get you emotionally involved, and you start to get like upset or pissed off, whatever. But like you need to be able to control that and still have the conversation and still hear their points of view and not like talk over them or anything. But then I don't know. I feel like if you can be able to start normal, get to a high point, and bring it back down to a point where it's just like it's calm and it's good, I think that is in itself a wonderful experience, 100%. And I know it just comes down to people wanting to be, like you said, talk to a brick wall, wanting to be right, and refusing to acknowledge any data or anything, because in their mind, they just don't want to be wrong. But
And that's why I think it's hard to have those really impactful conversations, because of how slim the chances are of it being two people that are opening to bringing it to that such high, and then also being able to come back down, even if nobody changes their point of view, and just it becomes a heated discussion.
A very important.
You still believe let's agree to disagree.
Yeah.
It was I learned some stuff about your point of view. You learned some stuff about my point of view.
That's the biggest
I respect you, and at the level, that's what it is. It's a respect thing.
Yeah.
But if people don't have respect for other people, then those are the type of people that you can't have those kind of conversations with.
Yeah.
Because they just will automatically go in thinking that they're better, they know everything, and then hence there being a brick wall.
Like, I'll have like conversations like that, and my goal never is to convince anybody of my point of view and think my point of view is the almighty.
Mine always is right. So.
Well, sure.
Brick wall.
But like the point is just to like, well, I'm gonna educate you a little bit on this, educate me on what you think, whatever. And I think that's very valuable, because there's a lot of stuff that I can't know by myself. Like with real estate, with you. Like, you know a lot of stuff that I don't know about real estate. And if I take the time to try to indulge into what I'm doing, plus that, I'm not going to get anywhere.
Right.
Not at all. So I just think they're very important, and I think that we should be more open and try to have those conversations. I know it's hard. I know it's not an easy thing that that we're saying to do. Like, it's especially if you're talking to a brick wall, you just hear shit. You just,
or if it's something that you feel really deeply on that you don't want to change.
Yeah.
But I know that I'm open enough that even if I'm really sticking to my guns and they bring up something that I've never even thought about that just makes fucking sense, I'm gonna be like, damn, why am I just now hearing that? Exactly. And then I would revamp how I feel and apply that, and possibly change my view on it as well.
Yeah.
Because what's that called? Contradicting? No, not contradicting. What's it called when you say something but then you do the complete opposite?
I forgot. My brain's
There's a term for it.
done since we.
But yeah. I'm good.
Talk about some. Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Watch this one or don't. I'm cool with either on this one.
But thank you guys for tuning in. Make sure you save it.
I didn't say
what. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you guys for coming here another week, watching the Down to Earth podcast. Please subscribe, like, comment. If not, it's totally fine. You guys have a wonderful week. We'll see you guys next week. Peace.